So, last month I talked about maybe getting a workbook for Portuguese to help me concentrate on European Portuguese rather than Brazilian. My initial searches for these only brought up things that were pretty expensive, beyond my budget at least. And then I remembered that when I was looking for a grammar book, the same publisher had a workbook for Portuguese too, and that was much more reasonable. So I bought it. Basic Portuguese. I've been working my way through it, but I have to say if I didn't already have the Duolingo knowledge behind me, there would be a lot of vocabulary learning to do, the old-fashioned way, which I'm sure by now you know is not the way I want to do it. Plus, it introduces things you haven't been taught yet into sentences, which could be confusing to a complete beginner. However, as a revision resource and clarification of the differences between European and Brazilian Portuguese, I think it's going to do the job. I've already discovered quite a bit of vocabulary that is different. Anyway, each section covers one grammar topic and one vocabulary subject, and you have to do things like choose the right pronoun, compose or translate sentences, select the right verb conjugations, and the like. Even after I had only just started doing this, I decided that using Duolingo anymore for Portuguese wasn't something I should be doing, because the differences were just going to confuse me. For example, the passive. Duolingo showed you the version of using estar plus a past participle, and then occasionally threw in this other version using estar a plus infinitive. I now know that the first version is Brazilian and the second is European. They aren't just an interchangeable thing, although I'm sure each country understands the other's version. Plus, I'm beginning to understand better the differences between the options for formal you and the use of an article before a name, which I'm not sure, but I think may be mainly a European thing. At the time of writing, I'm probably about a third of the way through, doing one lesson a day. I do have a criticism of the book, though, and that's the typesetting, which I do not blame the typesetter for. There are places where a ridiculously large amount of space is left for a one-word answer. That's not so much of a problem, but there are also places where nowhere near enough space is left. This should have been caught by the writer, editor, or proofreader, but it's only a niggle, nothing more. The book does have an app that doesn't work on my phone. Presumably it hasn't been updated since publication, but it is available on the web, so that might help me with pronunciation too. I might leave that until I've gone all the way through the book, though. So was Duolingo a waste of time? No, it familiarised me with a lot of the basics. If I hadn't used it, this would be a lot more difficult.